Hi there, it's Mark Antonio, and in this video we're going to talk about closing and overcoming objections in 7 simple steps so you always know what to say and you're never at a loss for words when you get an objection. Now, it's crucial to know what to say, to close deals, and to be able to overcome objections because you can do everything right before this, but if you can't close business, you truly don't help your client enjoy all the benefits of your product or service, and nothing in business happens until somebody's persuaded to do something, a deal is made, or something is sold. Would you not agree? Before we get into closing and overcoming objections, I have to say, if we're having to close really hard at the end of a presentation or showing people what we've got, it's most likely because we've opened poorly. You see, the close should be effortless, painless, and automatic if we have a great attitude, we've positioned ourselves properly, we've built a connection and rapport, we've fact-found effectively, and we've shown a laser-focused presentation based on what is most important to the client and paid attention to our client's nonverbal cues to know when is the right time to close. Because how to close is easy. When to close is the real question. For example, would you like to go with the A or B option? Would you like it delivered to your home or to your office? Do you want to go 60 months or 72 months? Would you like the gold or would the platinum package work better for you? Would you like this for yourself or for your entire staff? Those are all closes and they're easy. The challenge comes when we get objections. Also, we can prevent most objections from ever coming up in the first place. How do we do that? Well, when should we handle an objection? Well, the traditional view is when they come up, but the best time to handle an objection is up front. See, if the last 100 clients we helped had the same 3 or 4 objections, you know they're coming up again. So it would be very wise to bring them up in advance instead of praying that they never come up. If we know the cost of our product is a challenge, then we want to handle it up front. You don't want to wait for somebody to come out and say, you know what, I gotta let you know, you're awfully expensive. Because if that happens, they're gonna club us over the head with it. We want to brag about it up front and tell them why it costs so much and let them know that's what sets us apart. So now they can't really attack it and we can use it as a benefit. For example, I gotta let you know, we're not cheap. In fact, we're actually kind of expensive. We're expensive because we use the finest materials. We're expensive because we get it done in the shortest amount of time. We use the latest cutting edge technology. Myself and our customer service are here for you 24/7. That's what sets us apart. So we can brag about it in advance. Now we can do everything right and still get objections. It's inevitable, and sometimes people will actually give us objections just for sport and to see if we truly believe in what we've got. So here are 7 simple steps to overcoming objections. They're quick, they're easy, and they're fun once you've got them down. And once you've got them down, you'll actually look forward to getting objections because you'll be competent. And competence breeds confidence. So here's the first step. Step 1. When we get an objection, we want to feed it back in the form of a question. So for example, let's say somebody says it costs too much. It costs too much? What does this do? What this does is it puts the objection back in their lap. They now have to defend their own objection. You don't have to deal with it. It's like a hot potato. It's like somebody throws you a hot potato like, dude, I don't want to hear, you take it. Right? Now that person has to defend or explain their own objection. Many times in trying to explain their objection, they'll actually talk themselves out of it. For example, my phone. I don't have it on me, but when I bought my phone, I remember I was looking at the phone, I said, how much is it? The guy told me the price, I was like, dude, it costs a lot. He's like, it costs a lot? I said, yeah, it costs a lot. I remember I saw another phone and it didn't have this, this, and that. And actually, you know what? I want this, this, and that. So you know what? Let's just do it. Let's go. Let's do it. Oftentimes, we'll talk ourselves out of our own objections. If they persist, then we go to step 2. And in step 2, we question it. I know you have a reason for saying that. Do you mind if I ask what it is? Now, notice I didn't say it's a good reason. If I said it was a good reason, I'd actually be validating that it was good and verifying it. See, what you're doing here is you're getting permission and being totally respectful. I'm sure you have a reason for saying that. Do you mind if I ask what it is? It's not, why do you say that? That's confrontational, puts people on the spot. We don't want to do that. I'm sure you have a reason for saying that. Do you mind if I ask what it is? Well, you know, I've been to other places where it just costs less. Okay, no problem. Then we go to step 3 and we make it a final objection. Just suppose we're able to take care of the cost. Then in your opinion, do you feel this is really what you want? See, we ask this because if we're going to invest the time in handling this objection, we have to know it's the real objection. How do we do that? Well, we do it with a question. Most salespeople will attack every objection. And usually there's like just 1 or 2 major core objections. And if you find out the dominant one and handle that, the rest aren't ever brought up again. If you handle the objection that it costs too much without finding out it's the final objection, they could actually come back and say, you know what? I don't have the time. So just suppose we were able to take care of the cost. Then in your opinion, is this really what you want? It's exactly what I want. I just can't make sense of it. Now, at this point, we just need to help them justify the purchase with logic because people buy an emotion and close with logic. If they say yes, we go to step 4. If they say no, we go back to step 2 and we say, interesting, tell me more about that. I'm sure you have a reason for saying that. Do you mind if I ask what it is? And then we continue. Okay, so step 4, align with them and provide a cushion. See, what we want to do here is we want to put them at ease, make them comfortable, and do not attack them. Most salespeople want to jump all over every objection and handle it right away. And you don't need to do that. Take your time. I hear you. I'm with you. I agree. I often hear people say that, and you know what? You're right. I respect what you're saying, and you know what? You're right. It is expensive. I agree with what you're saying. Now, you might not agree with them, but you can definitely respect it. I mean, if you grew up in the same environment that they grew up in, you'd probably feel the same way they do, wouldn't you? In fact, never disagree with your clients. If you want to turn a logical, sane human being into a raving lunatic, just disagree with them. It costs too much. It just does. I often hear people say that. And you know what? You're right. It is expensive. How does it feel to have somebody confirm that you're right? Isn't that totally different than having somebody say, you know what? You're wrong. Of course it is. That never works. And if it does, it's always short term. Then we go to step 5. And we overcome the objection with logic. There are hundreds of ways and closes to overcome objections, and they're all worth learning so you can understand the structure behind them and why they work, and so you can have them in your data bank ready to use at any time because there's no one close that will work on anyone. There's no one silver bullet. So here are 3 closes just to keep it simple. First one, you can turn it around. It costs too much. That's exactly why you should do this. So you're not in a position in the future where it costs too much. That's exactly why you should do this. The efficiency you're going to make up for by having this is going to pay for itself over and over and over again. So investments like this in the future don't cost too much. That's exactly why you should do this, so you can have the money in the future. This is going to save you money or help you make more money. I don't have the time. That's exactly why you should do this, so you can have more power over your calendar and have more free time. If they say, I don't have the energy for this, that's exactly why you should do this. So you can have more energy, do better at work, make more money, and have more excitement and passion in your life. See, what we're doing is we're taking their objection and turning it back on them. Their objection is kind of like your ammo. This is one of the best ways to deal with an objection. The power of a turnaround is incredible because now you're turning their very reason for not doing it into a reason why they should do it. If they're going to list all the reasons for not buying on this side and all the reasons for buying over here, you're metaphorically taking their objection and saying, no, that's not actually why you shouldn't buy. Because of this right here, this is why you should buy. Okay, it's very powerful when you can use the turnaround. Close number 2, we can minimize the objection. For example, you're absolutely right. It is a large investment. But when you consider you currently spend about $5,000 a year on bagels and coffee for your employees, it's a small investment, isn't it? It costs too much. Yeah, I gotta let you know it's not cheap. But when you consider you currently spend $500 every night you go out and party with your friends at a bar, it's definitely inexpensive, wouldn't you agree? And that's not even good for you. This is. This is also known as reducing it to the ridiculous. It's another way of saying it. But if you do it like most people do, it's not effective. So we've all heard it before, like, it's $1 a day. Now, if we tell them it's $1 a day, it's really not effective because if we say it, it might not be true. But if we can get them to say it, then it's definitely true, right? So how do we do that? Well, we do that by asking questions. For example, it's going to be what, $1,000? Yeah. How long do you use it? I don't know, maybe 10 years. How much is that a year? I guess it's about $100 a year. How much is that a month? Well, it's less than $10 a month. How much is that a day? I mean, you're going to use this every day. Are you going to let something like 20 cents a day keep you from having what's really important to you? Now they're thinking, what? 20 cents a day? That's ridiculous, right? So we can minimize it. So the third close is we can outweigh it. And we show how the benefits outweigh and are more important than the objection. For example, it costs too much. I know you want your son's education to be taken care of, and I know you've got some concerns about the premium, but isn't it true your son's education is more important than the premium? What is he going to say, no? Or there's a huge difference in the price. Look, I know you want your children to grow up in a safe neighborhood with a solid school district, and at the same time you're concerned with the difference in the price. But isn't it true providing the best for your family is more important than keeping an extra $100,000 in your bank account? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Or you can actually outweigh it by what it's going to cost them by not doing it. It's true, it does cost a lot. But what's it going to cost you if you don't do it? What are you going to miss out on? And what could that lead to? So right after we use one of these closes, we tie it down. And we tie it down by asking, are you with me? Does that make sense? Do you follow me? If they say no, we question it and go back to step 2. But if they say yes, then we move on to step 6 and we give them an A or B option. Did you want to go with black or white? Did you want it delivered to your home or to your office? In your opinion, would you go with the gold package or the platinum package? Which would work better for you? After they pick, we move on to step 7. In step 7, we just assume the sale. And we assume the sale by sticking out our hand and congratulating them, filling out the paperwork, or simply just calling in the order. So to summarize, make sure you don't take any shortcuts and you go through all the steps before you close, and all the steps are solid to minimize objections from coming up. But if you still get an objection, feed it back, question it, make sure it's the final objection, align with them and provide an emotional cushion and agree with them, overcome the objection and help them make sense of the purchase with logic and tie it down to confirm it makes sense. And once it does, give them an A or B option. And finally, after they pick, assume the sale and wrap it up. Now, don't blow this off. Memorize these 7 steps and you'll never be at a loss for words. You'll know exactly what to say. And because of that, you'll be able to get out of your head and focus on giving your clients what they truly want and need. So here's what to do next. If you like tips like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more videos just like this. We'll see you next time.